See how it's...
Welcome to The Neighborhood, a show where a mother and her daughter talk about business, community, and everything in between. Now hop aboard the trolley and let's go.
And welcome to The Neighborhood. I'm so excited, Brendan.
The end of the video works. That's awesome.
Wow. Taylor's going to go, wow, I go away for 2 weeks and I was so techie. I spent so much time. Taylor and I made this little intro video probably a year ago, but then StreamYard wasn't ready. It didn't have the ability to play it automatically. And we couldn't figure out, like, do we switch over, play it, switch back? So we just didn't do it. And then I saw that it was, now you can load it in there and it plays. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to work. And there's an outro. So stay tuned because the excitement doesn't stop there. But okay, with me, a very special guest today, Brandon Sejera. Brandon, how have you not been on our podcast before?
Just fly under the radar, I
Yeah,
guess. I
I
have
guess.
no idea.
Yeah, you
This
do.
is my
fly
first
under the-
podcast. I'm a little nervous.
What do you mean it's your first podcast?
First podcast.
But you come in and do videos, but not podcasts.
Look here and there videos, but not podcasts.
Okay, a podcast virgin. We love that. We love that. It's always exciting because people think it's really intense and I have people say, can you send me the questions ahead of time? I'm like, it's a conversation. Like, I don't know where we're going to go, what we're going to talk about.
You know, I was thinking about that yesterday and I was sharing with some people. I'm like, yeah, I'm on a podcast today. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? I'm like,
I know.
It's with Gina.
So
It's going to be great.
It's a mystery.
It's an adventure.
It is an adventure. It's always an adventure and it's live. So if people want to comment and give Brandon a shout out, they can do that and we'll see it in the chat area. Well, I won't be able to see it because I don't wear my glasses during this because I realize you can see the reflection of the camera so either I have to be blind and then Taylor always reads the comments, or I have to be able to see, and then you can see the camera and everything
I'm
in
Taylor's eyes in this.
Yeah, you're the eyes. I always say, I'm the brains, Taylor's the eyes.
Are you gonna wear glasses?
No, but I want to switch it to so you can actually see the chat, the comments. So yeah, you could give Brandon a shout out as we're going to, do his first podcast here. But
First of a lot of things.
yeah,
Welcome to the village.
Welcome to the village. Well, and I have to, before we go to the news, because we'll get on the trolley in a moment and we'll go to the news station to talk about business news. And then we'll get on the trolley again. I'm just prepping you so you don't get scared. And then we'll get on the trolley again and we'll go into the living room.
So there is a bit of a process.
There's a little bit of a process,
Okay.
a little bit. But Brandon's origin story here at the village, because I always think everybody knows because we've told this story so many times. It was 2018, I believe.
Going back, way back.
2018. And Taylor, Bailey, and I, so we still had our marketing business, and the three of us had been talking about trying to find a space to work, trying to find a place for our team to actually have an office. Couldn't find. We had just gone and toured several co-working spaces and we just left so discouraged going, wow, they're either so quiet, and we knew we would get in trouble because here, even if I go towards our wellness center, I get in trouble.
We know Gina's coming down the hall.
Yeah, they hear me, and usually the massage therapists stick their head out the doors it's like little prairie dogs when I walk by, and they're all sticking their head out the door. Shh, I'm doing a massage, or I'm doing a facial, or and so I try not to go over there too much, but
it's a great place.
It is. It's great. And so we would go looking at co-working spaces, and we knew, we'd get kicked out of this one. If Taylor brought her daughter, at the time Ophelia was like 3 months old, we would definitely get the evil stare of, you're bringing a child in here? Like, oh, that's not going to go well. And so we met at this little coffee shop in Inglewood to talk about our dream of maybe we should start our
Nixon's
own.
Coffee.
Yeah, Nixon's Coffee are they still there?
They're still there. They've
They're still there.
expanded.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little place.
It was really little.
Yeah, and now it's bigger. I need to go by there and say, we were here drawing on a napkin, little logo ideas, and talking about maybe we should start our own co-working space, and we'd call it the village, and we would help each other and all these fun things that we couldn't find in other co-working spaces. And then there was a guy next to us. We didn't even know that you were sitting there kind of listening in. We just thought he was really there diligently working for hours. You left and came back.
I was doing real estate, and coffee shops were my place to work in.
Yeah.
Because you meet a ton of different people. It's not because you meet a ton of different people.
You do. You meet
I
lots
can
of
be on
fun
my
people.
computer and then run and do appointments and then go back to the coffee shop. We had lived right across the street.
Oh,
We
I
had
didn't know
just
you
moved
lived over
in.
there.
We were living in Sloan's Lake and then
Okay.
moved into the apartment complex across the street
Right
from Nixon.
across.
So it was great. And we were there for, I don't know, 6 months or so. But during that 6 months, I was in the coffee shop, heard you guys come in.
And he obviously heard us because we're loud.
I left to run appointments, came back, and I was shocked that you guys
we're still there with a baby. Like Ophelia was there with us. I'm pretty sure she was with us.
She was.
So she was still.
She was new.
She must have just been in her little. Although maybe she wasn't yet, because I don't know. Maybe she wasn't there. Maybe she wasn't born yet.
There.
She was there
Yep.
in her little carrier. And so Brandon leans over and says, "Hey, like I overheard you guys talking. What are you guys doing? Yeah.
What are you guys trying to do?"
And we were just like, we're talking about this business idea we have of, just kind of this pipe dream, starting a co-working space. And then Brandon says, "I know a commercial broker if you are looking for one."
Gina was like, "We need to find a building."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I'm a realtor." "Oh, can you show us a building?" "No, you want to find a commercial realtor."
Right. And he says, I know one. And that moment when you're talking big, like, "Oh, I have this big business idea." And then somebody's like, "Oh, I know a broker." And then you're like, "Oh, dang, now it's real."
Did I just say that out loud?
It's your fault. I didn't tell Kirk. All this is really your fault, because it probably would have stayed a dream for a lot longer. But then all of a sudden we're like, "Oh yeah, of course I want a commercial broker to show us buildings for real." And then we spent the next probably 6 months looking at so many buildings. First, we were looking small. We were thinking like 2,500 square feet. And we looked at so many that are just funny to drive down Broadway and see, because we were looking kind of Broadway down to Park Meadows Mall, kind of that area, South Broadway. And there was a purple house that on South Broadway. If you're in Denver, you'll know. We call it the Barney House or the drug house, because I think it was a dispensary.
Barney House.
Yeah, it's a Barney house or Barney doing drugs house, because I think it was this purple building, and I don't know what it was before the drug. I say drug house. They did sell. I think they sold marijuana there, but then there was a wall and you go behind it and there was like couches, and we're like, "Oh, this looks like a scary scene out of a movie."
So it's within the Green Mile, probably between I-25 and Evans.
Yeah. Somewhere in there. Yeah. And then right down the street was the Men's Warehouse, giant building that was in a King Super strip mall. And that one I really liked, because they had a conveyor belt that went downstairs where they must have had the clothes go down. And we're like, "Oh, we could have a nursery, a kids room downstairs. We put the kids in little buckets and they go down the conveyor belt." So we looked at so many buildings.
Yeah, I'm here to pick up this tag number. Okay.
Yeah, your child will be brought up on the line right here. And so we had looked at all these buildings, and then I listened to a podcast or went to a conference. Taylor and I went to a co-working conference, and they're saying, if your space is under 10,000 square feet, it's really hard to be profitable ever. And I went, "Oh, dang." So then I had to go home and tell Kirk, "I think we need to go 10,000 square feet. And he was like, "Are you nuts?" And so we then went back to Paul saying, "We need to look at bigger spaces." And that's when we started looking around here and found this space. And then how long before you came? Because then we didn't see you.
We
didn't
last
run
time
it.
you saw me was
at
at the coffee shop. I think or 2 years later, or maybe a year later.
Because it probably was a year before we actually got in here.
Well, I ran into Bailey at a restaurant,
right,
of her
brother,
husband's uncle,
who
the owner of this restaurant. The restaurant doesn't exist anymore, but amazing food.
I know, it was really great.
It was named Foodacopia.
Shout out and RIP Foodacopia.
So good.
But you know what? He's now married and traveling the world and having his best life yet.
Yeah, Tim, you're great.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Tim was doing a brand new menu, had a photo shoot. We were there, and Bailey was sitting right next to us, and she's like, "I know you." And I'm like, "Okay.
Yeah.
How do I know you?
How do I know you? Yeah.
You're the guy from the coffee shop."
You're the guy in the coffee shop that got this whole thing going. Yeah.
And then I came in here. I was just passing by. I was like, I need to stop in and see you guys just to see the building, because you guys are in and business is going. I think it was during COVID or outside of COVID. And I came in and you're like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm here to check out the building.
I didn't have the sharp memory of Bailey.
Who are you? And I'm like, I'm the guy from the coffee shop, and I just came to see what you guys created.
From the coffee shop. And he's been here, and now you are like this integral part of the village. Like integral. Wait, what is the word? You're integrated into it. So you're an important part of the village. And so much so, literally, whenever we bring somebody in that is touring, I'm always hoping Brandon will pop his head out, because you're just a natural connector. Have you always been a natural connector?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
Like you've just enjoyed, you're a people person. You introduce people to other people, which is very cool. And in here, that is one of our things, is like, all right, when somebody's coming in for the first time, introduce them to somebody that they need to know, that you're like, oh, you guys have something in common. And so we always say we have the bro club of all the bromances in an area of the village. Although Dave and Josh are on the wellness side. And really, I thought for sure they would be in your bro circle, but there was no offices left yet.
So to give you guys perspective, the building's a 50,000 square foot building. I used to say 100,000 square foot building, but thanks for correcting.
Yeah, it's 50,000. That's big enough.
It does feel like 100.
It feels like a block.
And so the south side of the building is all businesses. The north side of the building is the health and wellness. So there's office space scattered throughout. And what an amazing place to be. I think every business owner that's here is so thankful to be here. And
I see them thriving, and not just like their business growing, but just they come in and they're excited to. People always say, I look forward to coming to work. And I go, I love that. I love coming to work, because there's just your friends are here.
If you go back to when you were dreaming about doing the business.
Yeah.
And then you had questions and you learned through the process. I think it's the same for businesses, small business owners that are in here. They learn the process, they overcome challenges, they learn, and then they have connections, because it's not just a co-work space where people come in and they don't interact with anybody. Like that's the enjoyable.
Every day you meet somebody.
That's the enjoyable part of being in here, is that everyone is open and there's communication.
There's 80 businesses in here, which is crazy. And then all the networking groups.
We have about 1,500 people that come through here a week.
Yeah. Plus all the event space and meeting rooms. So it's like you're always running into somebody that you didn't know. And then all the people in here bring people in. So you're just like, who is this cool person? Brandon's walking down the hall with another cool person. So it's super. I love it.
Yeah, it's so great.
How long have you been doing real estate?
So I started doing real estate in Colorado in 2016.
Okay.
I was born and raised in
real estate. What did you do before? I know you were probably
going
like
backwards.
16.
So I was born and raised in real estate in California. Dad was a mortgage broker, real estate broker.
I didn't know that.
My mom's in banking. My grandmother was in investments.
Really?
And
your grandmother was in investments? Okay.
Investments in real estate.
Yeah, that's cool. Because that wasn't that common. I mean, she's probably very young still, but still, even my mom, that generation, like that wasn't common for women to be in real estate or
she was in it. I think in the 70s and 80s is when she got into it. And she got into
when women just got the ability to get a credit card.
She was a powerhouse. I mean, she told you straight up how it was.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so built this empire out there, and I wanted out of California and came to Colorado my second year of college and told myself I'd never do real estate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you didn't want to follow in their footsteps.
I didn't want to follow in the family business. And then I came out here and went to school, played soccer. I started a nonprofit called Denver Street Soccer while doing financial planning. And that really helped with building
with your network of,
And that's when really that nonprofit really just kind of exploded. And, I have a gift of connection and relationships. And so, and teaching life skill through sport was amazing.
Which you're a very competitive soccer player, because Taylor played with you on a co-ed team. And
I had like 3 good games.
She wasn't happy a couple games. She was like, I want to take all of them down. Yeah.
Taylor is really competitive.
She's very competitive. She has some pent up rage.
So after I was doing financial planning, the nonprofit was awesome. Man, I connected with so many great people, and still in communication with those people today. Got burnt out in financial planning, and then got into oil and gas, and did that for a couple of
Interesting.
years, and just did sales and just all relational.
Yeah.
And then gas price went belly up, and someone said, "You should get in real
You
estate."
should be a realtor.
I'm like, no. And here I am, like, prayed about it and was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do it differently. Got into it. Took me a while. Like, I was getting lucky for a long time, and then finally full circle back to what I learned in financial planning, is that it's all about relationships. It's not about selling. It's not about,
but you know what, when
putting your
people say
product out.
selling is relationships. It's like selling is, I have a relationship with people and I see that they're struggling with something. I have a solution. Maybe it's something I have, maybe it's something someone else has. Maybe it's, I need you to meet this person. But to me, sales is all about relationships. But some people think that's two separate things. So everyone is in sales if they're good at relationships. And selling is just providing solutions.
And giving value.
Yeah, and providing value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm big in. Like, I would
Yeah.
say I'm a connector through and through. And like, I
You
connected you with Paul.
and you bring a lot of cool people, like the young lady who was just in here with you yesterday or day before.
Carly.
She was in high school. 18. She's in high school and she's ready to take her real estate license,
Yeah,
which we need to have her in here and talk about. Like 18, I didn't even know what I was doing at 18.
So I got connected through Carly. Her mom is a teacher for my daughter at her school.
Oh, that's how you met. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love
She's like, hey, my daughter's getting a real estate license. Can she interview you and shadow you? And like,
you're like, sure.
That's amazing.
And you're like, bring your walking shoes because we're going to walk around the village.
Anybody that comes in here, bring your walking shoes, because
and your workout clothes, because we've got a gym here, but you really could just
showers.
Walk. And
so
showers.
You could work out and then shower and be.
You could technically live here, which we won't encourage that, but I'm not going to say it hasn't happened. Yeah, we have nap rooms, food,
massage chairs.
Yeah. So I'm always afraid when I go in the nap room and somebody's been in there for like 2 or 3 hours. I'm like, do I hear breathing? Are they okay? Has somebody had a heart attack in here? Or are they just drooling all over the chair? Don't know.
Okay, Gina. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you had a magic wand and 2025 were to go the way you want it for the village, what would the village look like?
I mean, I always say if somebody gave me $5 million, it would look like this, but just some bougier things. I'd have my 7-foot giraffe that holds a chandelier, things like that. Yeah.
Anybody, if you have a large giraffe, please call Gina.
Just Google it. It's an amazing giraffe, 7 foot tall, holds a chandelier that's lit up. And it's like, I would have really cool fixtures in here. But 2025, if I could wave the magic wand, I feel like we're almost completely full. I feel like we have amazing community here of people. I would selfishly, I need a nail tech. I want to have somebody. See, this whole thing is my selfish endeavor. I want massage therapists. We have that. We have a chiropractor. Okay. We have physical therapy. We have a shaman. We have estheticians. I need someone that does nails. I'll say it. There you go. I need someone that does nails.
Hair person?
No, hair people are loud.
Okay.
Because they blow dry hair and then they're talking over the blow dryer. They would be kicked out of there. Like immediately. We talked about it. It's not even that people always go, yeah. We need a silent hairdresser that just goes to blow dry your hair, because blow dryers are so loud. And then you go in any hair salon and they talk over, the blow drying, and you're like, I could just see Emily. She would be clutching her chest every day going, I can't do my massages in here.
So the thing so we have a lot of businesses in here. It's been great to just go and see and
you're one of the people. You have gone and taken advantage of getting services from so many of the businesses in here. Like, you've gone to get a massage.
Emily is amazing.
Yeah, Emily's great.
Not just a great massage person, she's a great story, great person. She was
intense on my neck. I'll say it. I'm a wimp.
Very therapeutic.
I need like little flowers and candles waved in front of my nose while you just lightly massage it. She was just like sports injury therapy, whatever type of massage,
She's
deep
great.
tissue.
She's
Yeah.
great.
I need like shallow tissue massage. That's what I should say.
We have a chiropractor in here. I haven't seen him yet, but I've heard a lot
Dr.
of great
Wells,
things.
people are driving from all over Colorado to see Dr. Wells, Shane Wells, amazing chiropractor, physical therapy group with Eric and Lori. And Lori teaches yoga classes. We have a couple yoga instructors. We have, yeah, it's so cool. Lots of therapists. I wish I could go to the therapists here, but they've all said,
No.
yeah, no, too close.
I don't want to
close.
know you're
Yeah, I don't
crazy.
want to know you. It's like, you see my crazy every day. What more do you need to know? Like, can I just come lay on the couch in there and you help me process this? Yeah, we have lots of great therapists here, which we did a whole series on interviewing the therapists in here. There's just so many cool people.
So it's really neat. I mean, I came in here December of
Tattoo, shout out to
2024.
Angelique. We have a tattoo artist in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I came in 2024 to get a desk,
Yeah.
and then I got a.
And now you have an office, and now you started your own. Is it? See, this is where I get kind of lost in real estate. So you were an agent
I'm a broker.
and then became a broker?
I was a broker.
Broker is when you first start.
So broker is when you're not hired at all.
Okay.
So I'm a broker.
Right.
Unless you're my client, then I'm your agent.
Then you're my agent. Okay.
Technical terms.
And
there,
you're a
but
broker, but then you have to work under.
when you first become a broker, you need to be part of a brokerage for the first 2 years for
Okay.
supervision to make sure you're doing things correct.
Well, I should have been under supervision when I first started. Zero experience doing this. And then then you were working under another brokerage, but then you now have your own brokerage.
So I was working underneath a brokerage, and then I'm still a part of that same brokerage.
And that's Fathom.
And that's Fathom.
Yeah.
And now I'm a managing broker for Fathom.
There's the okay.
So still same brokerage, but
okay. But you have a team now.
I have a team within the brokerage.
Right.
Vista Home Group. This is where it gets confusing.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Vista Home Group is under Fathom.
Yeah.
And it's basically your group of brokers.
It's my private team.
Yeah. So yeah, which Ben is part of your team, which have we had Ben on here?
The very first
I
one.
think so. I think we talked to Ben a long time ago. It's time because he's now he became a realtor. So
I didn't know Ben prior to coming to the village. I met Ben at the village.
And you guys are like, I would say big brother or father son.
No, not even that.
Big brother, little brother.
We're a great partnership.
Yeah.
Like
you guys are like two peas in a pod.
So Ben was in marketing for a long time, and I was like, man, this guy would be great at real estate.
Ben, I knew would be great at anything because he's a relationship guy. He's such a good relationship guy. And we know his wife. We love her. Mads, shout out to Mads and their cute little daughter, Tallulah, who comes in on Fridays in her little tutu. Ben brings her to work with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great.
But yeah, so Ben and I, when I got in the village, I was going through some like changes, and the village, just people in the village just really kind of came around me. And just, yeah, Ben and I connected. We'd go out to lunch like over a span of a year.
Yeah.
And he just came to me one day. He's like, all right, I'm like, I told him like 6 months. I was like, you'd be really good at real estate. He's like, don't talk to me.
He's like, no,
don't want to be a realtor. Don't talk to me about it. I'm like, okay, great. Noted. And then November, he comes to me. He's like,
what do you think about me being a realtor?
I want in. And I'm like, are you sure about this? Like,
yeah,
you're so strong about not. And so, yeah, I'm teaching him or taught him a lot of what I know. Ben brings a complete different dynamic. He's very, very knowledgeable. I mean, the guy came from marketing, but just a great guy and a great partnership. I'm excited to see what happens.
Me too. I'm excited for him.
He's spending the week with Larry Kendall, with the author of Ninja Selling, and
he's going to come
knows
back
Larry personally now.
Fire. Yeah.
So,
well, it's funny because here I was telling someone else here last week, he just said, this place has been so healing for him. And I said, it is like a hospital. And I said, all of us have times when we're struggling, and the whole hospitality piece of this business is caring and loving on strangers is what I always like to say. It's just like our whole thing since we opened the doors, love on people. Just when people come in, and there's times when you will need the loving on, and that you're down and you're feeling like I can't do this anymore, and you'll need someone to encourage you. And then there's times when you're up and you're the one able to encourage other people. And I feel like you embody that with your team, but just with everybody, all the strangers in here. And it's just been wonderful. You play a very important part. You're integral.
Integral.
Not integral.
But that's what makes a
Integral.
community, right?
It
Like that's a
does.
huge aspect of community. And I
Yeah.
think everyone that walks in here says, man, this place is amazing.
And
How do
it's
you know all
different.
these people?
Yeah.
It's like there's 1,500 people that come through here a
Yeah.
week. Like
You just get to know so many amazing people. And if you invest in them, they're going to keep wanting to come back.
and investing is having a relationship.
Yeah.
Like authentic relationship.
I mean, I love it. Like we have a sweet new woman who I just love her already. I loved her before I even saw her. Andrea was telling me about her, whose husband just passed away, and she's just going through the lowest of low times. And immediately I was like, this is our job. Our job is to circle around this woman and get her through this time. And yesterday she was laughing in here and we were talking about IT challenges and just, I was like, this is what it's about. It's like she's going through a time, but you know what? In a few months, she's going to be loving on other people. So that's so important here. So important. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's fun though to bring in people that you don't know because you are also a huge connector. And then with connector and connector together,
Yeah. Oh, watch out.
what possibilities going to happen?
I always say, as soon as you introduce me to someone, I go, oh, I know either who they need to know or something I want to do with them.
Yeah.
Like, it's just cool. And it's exciting. It's like, I mean, I've been in this stage this year of, I'm going to retire. I'm going to retire. And that means come in at 10 and leave at 4. I do come in at 10 a lot.
Yeah.
I do.
You do.
Unless
you need to come in early.
Unless I have to come in at the crack of 9. But I can't imagine not being here because it's just such a great place to connect with people.
I mean,
and
it's
learn.
truly family.
Yeah,
Like,
it is
really
like family.
Like I'm bummed. We have someone moving and I'm like,
I know.
and we're helping them. And I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, I know we can do a good job, but I'm kind of sad that
I
you're
know.
leaving.
I am really sad that she's moving away, far, far away.
I was thinking about that since been in the village a little over a year. We had the author or editor. She's really quiet, and then she lost her job.
Jessica. Oh,
but she's like,
we love
you guys
her.
went to her concert.
Oh, she's yeah, Jessica Meek. She is a technical writer, but then she's so quiet. And her last name is Meek, which described her. She's so quiet and very just like poised. She has a British accent, so she just sounds amazing. But then we found out she was an ABBA cover band. She's in an ABBA cover band and sings.
She owns it. She's
my gosh. Julian Taylor and I got dressed up in our 70s best, went to her concert. Like, she is out there rocking it. And I love learning. We've been talking about this, learning all these fun facts because Jessica, we're like, wow, we need to go and dance with her. And then we found out that Stephen here, who's a very quiet attorney, walks around with his headphones on, never really talks to a lot of people. But one day he was like, oh yeah, I asked him, what are you doing tonight? He said, oh, I'm conducting a cantata. And I was like, what? He said, oh, I'm a conductor. And he's at the Denver Symphony conducting a Easter cantata for 3 nights.
This is G?
No, Stephen. See, you probably don't even know Stephen Melman yet. Or not Melman, Stephen Williams, who works for Melman Jacobs. He's in an office back on this side, but he's always at the printer. Stephen, it was because of you. We all have to start charging for printing. He would print 500-page depositions. They do something to do with visa processing. So really, they need to know the group at Legacy. But he's a conductor. And then we learned that Teresa sings in the Parker Chorale. And she's this very serious executive director of Obesity Medicine Association here. And it's just so fun.
It's like we have our business professional hats on, but everyone has a story, right?
Yeah.
Like we have a guy in the office, quiet guy. He's
Levi.
A great dude.
I know who you're talking about. The minute you say quiet, Levi, amazing guy.
But I see him rolling by on a unicycle. I'm like
what?
That's awesome.
Yeah, he has a couple interesting facts. Like, wow, he's so interesting.
It's a relationship community.
And like, Levi is one that kind of gave me a little. My heart stopped one night because I woke up and there were all these pings on our camera here, and I was like, "Who's in the village at 2 a.m?" And then they were at like 1 a.m, 1:30, 2, 3. And I was like, who is walking around the village? It was Levi, he works. We have so many people now here 24/7, but he was working at night and he would walk by the kitchen camera at like almost every hour, just getting up to stretch, I'm sure, and get something to drink. And he would be, he was working at night. So he's funny.
I had a chance to talk to Levi a bit more, and
He's so great.
he's from a small town, Southwest Kansas. And I'm like, I know some people in Southwest Kansas.
Of course you
And I
would.
was like, do you know the Love family? He's like,
No,
yeah, I know them well.
You
And
guys knew the same people.
I mean, I worked on this farm for 2 weeks in college, and
wow.
yeah, it's
fun.
story of our lives.
I
Like
know.
just being able to connect.
You just have to put yourself out there and connect with people and talk. So yeah, so fun. Okay, we're gonna get on the trolley. So don't be, oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, this may be the trolley, this may be laughter track. See, this is where Taylor
We'll make
goes.
it work either
Taylor
way.
goes, see, you need me. Because
Yeah,
there we
miss
go.
you.
We do miss you. Taylor is still gallivanting in Portugal. I think today they're in London. But here comes
Spring
the trolley.
break.
Yeah, spring break. Okay. The trolley, you didn't hear it, but it's like our imaginary friend. You didn't see it, but other people did. But we're going to the news desk to talk about some interesting news. And one thing I almost forgot about last week, I talked about Google has this new AI feature. If you go to AI, it's googlestudio.ai, and you click on the little plus button and upload a photo. You can just speak the prompts if you have your microphone on, or you can just type in a prompt. And I was explaining this to Kirk and he took it the wrong way. I said, you can upload a picture of, let's say, you and somebody else. And you're like, okay, this person, I don't want them in my picture. And last week, this was the example we used. Let's say that you no longer are dating somebody or with somebody, and you want to, but yet you like the picture that you took. And you want to just remove this person. And it might be that you're still together, but you just want to remove this person because you like it as a headshot. But, you can't crop it just right. Okay. Crazy Google AI. I'm going to show you the picture. I'm going to have to hold it up to the camera to see. I think it's right here. Yeah. Okay. So
wow.
a couple weeks ago, Kirk and I went to Dancing with the Stars. And we took this picture, this first picture on the left. So let me turn it around here. Oh, I'm hoping you guys can see it. We took the first picture of just a selfie of both of us. But then I was like, all right, what if I wanted to remove him from the picture? And Kirk's like, why do you want to remove me from the picture? And I said, I mean, just as
the picture doesn't look as good without.
It doesn't. I mean, he's a very handsome man. But here's what's interesting. It not only took him out, it all of a sudden put hair on this side of my shoulder that wasn't even there. My hair was back. It put hair there. Then I wrote into the prompt, make the background an office scene. And it changed from Dancing with the Stars theater to an office scene in the background. So you can go in and say, take this photo and make it, instead of a white wall, make it a boardroom. And it'll put a boardroom there with no, I mean, a lot of these AI things, you either have to buy an app or you have to really manipulate things several times. But this is, if you already have a great picture, and maybe it's a picture that you just want a different outfit on. You could say, change the shirt to a polo shirt. And it did amazing. So that's just free.
My 2 cents on AI.
In Google. Yeah, well, we know your 2 cents because we've seen
AI
Brandon.
likes hair, a lot of hair.
Well, you had a hat on. And then you told AI to make these pictures, and all of them had really big hair. Let's just say it gave you either lots of hair, or it made you black in one picture. It made you you had hair in some. It kind of took it, but wasn't that the purpose of the app, to just make a whole bunch of different versions of you?
Yep.
Yeah. This one just makes the tweaks that you would normally do in Photoshop or Canva, but I was not airbrushed in any of these. Yeah. It was my selfie picture, but it fixed.
AI does a great job. I mean, it's coming along. Came a long way.
Yeah.
It's come a long way, and it's going places.
Oh, it's like you have to, and it's like right now everyone's using it just to edit pictures or to write a blog post, but looked for ways, like I really want it to help us with our live chats on our website. And so I'm working on that, loading in all the FAQs so it can answer questions without me needing to live chat with people all the time with repetitive questions. So there's a lot that I think businesses can be doing with it. I think it can also help you do reporting and analyze numbers if you're not the numbers person. So I thought that was really
Well,
cool.
even the voice AI stuff that's coming out. There's
Wow.
a number of
Some of them
apps,
are so good.
and some can just focus on setting appointments
Yeah.
or calling to touch base. I haven't thrown a party next month on the 10th. I'm like, this would be great. Like, here's a list of people, just call to RSVP
That's a great
with these
idea.
people. And the conversations back and forth, it's so good.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I just think we have to be investigating ways we could be learning. I just was in my mastermind group yesterday. One of the women said, listen to the AI Leader book. And so I just downloaded it yesterday. She said you need to listen to it and you need to buy the hard copy because you're going to want to take notes in it. So I'm listening to it first and then I'll get the hard copy to go through it again. But she said it was so good. So I'll give you a book report later on that one. But second news story. Last week, we also talked about Klarna. So Klarna, which I think Taylor thought was a facial product or makeup or something. But
No,
Klarna is
Klarna.
those pay. So if you probably don't shop a lot online, or do you?
Amazon.
Okay, I think Amazon offers it. When you go to pay, it'll say, do you want to break this into 4
it's Klarna,
payments?
purple,
I
purple
think
tab,
so.
yeah.
Well, they're now in Walmart. If you shop at Walmart, you can now, so it's the old layaway, but now Klarna is the modern version of layaway at Walmart. But now DoorDash is getting it. I'm like, okay, people,
Let
if
me
you
make 5
cannot
monthly
afford,
installments
yeah,
on food.
I'm
please.
like, okay, I'm ordering lunch. It's $32. I'm breaking this into 4 payments. I was like, is that a state of our economy? Wow, that's scary. But maybe you wanted to do a really nice dinner. I can't imagine why you would break a DoorDash, but maybe DoorDash does do more than food. You can go have DoorDash pick up, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. You can go to Walgreens, or is Walgreens still even open?
Yeah, Walgreens
Yeah,
is
they're still there.
so good.
I have a feeling it won't be long, Walgreens. But Klarna can now do DoorDash. So if you have a big date or a big dinner you're throwing and you want DoorDash to deliver $500 worth of groceries to your house, you can now break it into 4 easy payments, which is a frightening thing. So that was interesting news. The second piece of news that's kind of interesting and startling. If you are in 23andMe, a lot of us have heard 23andMe is filing for bankruptcy. And when a company goes through bankruptcy, they sell all their assets. And that means data. So your data will be sold to the highest bidder. I keep wondering, the obvious one to buy it would be Ancestry.com, because Ancestry would now have all the people in 23andMe, and you would get thousands of notifications that you have lots of cousins that you didn't know about, which some of you know my story. I found my real dad through Ancestry.com, and it's a crazy story. But yeah, 23andMe, if you do have yours, if you spit into that vial in 2019, when they first launched, or 2020 maybe, it must have been 2019 before COVID, because people would have a spit party. That's what they called them. And they would get together and you had to spit into a vial, which most guys say that's easy. I could not spit. Like, you have to fill a vial with spit. That is a lot of spit.
Reminds me of Titanic.
Did they spit?
When he teaches her how to spit
yeah.
off the deck
Yeah.
of the boat.
Because most girls do not. Most girls. Taylor could hawk a loogie. I'm telling you, she knows how to spit.
Taylor, let's have a
Yeah.
loogie.
Loogie contest outside, out way back way. But they would have these spit parties to fill these little vials with spit, because then you had to send it in, and Ancestry.com, that's what you had to do, and you send it in, and then they get your results. So if you have your data on there, I highly recommend go log in right now and delete your data, because it will be sold, guaranteed. So that's kind of interesting. One reason I think for the demise of Klarna is kind of like we've talked about on other podcasts. They had one product. It was a one and done. You paid to have your DNA analyzed. What else do you do after that? You're not going to buy another one. Maybe you buy one for a family member, but you kind of make a purchase and you're done. Ancestry, you had a subscription and you paid monthly. to continue to have connections sent to you and information about your great grandfather's birth certificate was found by one of your other relatives and loaded into your family tree. So you would log back in and you'd be able to see and build your family tree out more robustly. So,
Interesting.
yeah, I think if you don't have a subscription model, figure out ways to add things into your service. Like for a realtor, it would be cool to have a new home buyer subscription to services, carpet cleaning, um, decorator. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like as a new home buyer,
Do you want to
all
go
the
down this route?
things. Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
you
new
probably
business.
already have.
Gina, 2025.
Yeah, I
here we
could come
go.
up with another idea. But there's looking for subscription models because if you
No,
don't,
that's a really
you
good idea.
become a 23andMe
That's a great idea.
or a subscription for other realtors to buy into that you provide services for them, admin services, marketing services, things that you could, dilute what you do into 1,000 ways, which I know all about. So anyway, that takes us to our last one, and that is Napster. So Napster just sold this week.
They're still in business?
That's what I said. I was like, wait, didn't they die a long time ago? They have been sold 5 times. 5 times. They got sold for $207 million. Now, why?
Recently?
This week. They got sold to a metaverse company, not Meta, but to another metaverse company. Now, here's what I have theories and I have advice for you. The power of Napster. When you think of Napster, what do you think of besides music?
High school, downloading MySpace.
Illegally.
Yes. Yep.
Disruption. I mean, because of Napster, all of this streaming services came about. Before Napster, we had to pay for every song. Now you go and you rent for a service, $15 or whatever it is for Spotify, and you download whatever music you want. You listen to it for free for $15. So it's interesting. Napster, I think of disruption of the music industry, rebels, kind of that, you think of these words when you think of Napster. Didn't their logo even have like little devil,
I don't know.
or maybe it was a cat.
So that's the con side, right? Like positive,
Well,
negative?
no, it's just what do you think of when you think of their name? Because obviously whoever bought it wanted that name because they're kind of buying a name. Because what does Napster have right now?
I didn't think Napster
They
was
just
even
have a
in
name.
business.
Yeah. They actually have been in business, again, sold 5 times. So it's crazy. But it made me start wondering what's in a name? What's in a name? Which there's an old story of a Jewish man walking down the road. And he came to this bridge and there was somebody guarding the bridge. And the Jewish rabbi comes to the bridge and the man yells down, "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" And the rabbi is like, "What are you talking about? I'm going home." And the man yells, "No, who are you? What are you doing here?" And the rabbi said, "Who pays you to ask that question?" And he says, "It doesn't matter. Who are you and what are you doing here?" And the rabbi said, "Whoever is paying you, I will pay you double if you will come and stand outside my house and ask me that question every day. Who are you and what are you doing here?" And it's one that it's really about what are you doing here? What is your purpose? But then the who are you, it kind of makes me think of when people think of your name, what do they think of? Hopefully not disruption and chaos. I always think, okay, when people think of me, what do they think of? And what's in our name? Because Napster is worth $200 million, not because they have any products, but because of their name. Are we building a personal brand or a business brand that when people hear that name, they think of words that we want them to think of? And that ties into what are you doing here? What is your purpose? And is it lived out so strongly every day that people start associating your name with that? Like immediately, I think Brandon Connector, Brandon caring for people, shepherding. You kind of think of those words. And I don't know if that's the words you want to have. I mean, those are good qualities.
Those are great. Yeah, those are great.
But I think for all of us, what do people think of? And do you have time and the answer is yes, because you're still alive, to change that if it's not what you want it to be. What do you want people to associate with your name?
Such a deep question. And
Yeah.
a deep topic.
It is. It's just, it makes us. And when I heard the Napster story, I thought it is interesting. Dale Carnegie, wasn't he the one that said the sweetest sound is somebody's name, is hearing their name? And in sales, you could definitely go overboard with that. Hey, Brandon. So what do you think about this, Brandon? I really believe you'd look great in this car, Brandon. Like, somebody can use your name too much. But when they don't use your name at all, and people use the excuse of, oh, I have a bad memory, I don't use their name. But names have power in them, and they're valuable not only to that person, but they could be valuable as a brand. In the name of our business, our name, it got me thinking of the power of names, going, wow, this brand has been alive longer than any of us thought they were still alive because their name. We still know them.
I think a lot of people are searching on who they are
Yeah.
and what their name is.
What do I want to be known for? Yeah. Who am I out there? So that's our homework this week. Who are you, and why are you here? Who are you? And maybe we need to all hire that guard to stand outside. So every day we walk out, they ask us, who are you? Why are you here? To remind us, oh yeah, I need to be living in such a way that every day when I show up, people start associating that word.
But even
those
within
words.
yourself, being able to associate yourself with
Yeah.
your meaning of who you are.
Yeah. What do I want to be known for?
It starts with mindset.
It does. I mean, you could be the crankster, you could be the curmudgeon, you could be the whiner, the complainer, or you could be the encourager. I mean, that was always one of the things I gravitated. I wanted to be the encourager.
Mm.
It's like I wanted to encourage people because I felt like I needed that. And so I think sometimes what we don't have when we're younger, we say, okay, I want to provide that, whether it's for your kids, whether it's for others around you. Yeah. And it's like, what is that? How do you take something that might be a negative and say, okay, it's time. I just was listening to someone on a podcast who she was one of these people who complained about everything. She said, I had no joy. Anything good that happened, I was like, oh, I'm sure that the other shoe's going to drop. Something bad's going to happen. Or, it wasn't even that she didn't feel like she deserved it. It was just, she knew that something negative would happen. She focused on everything bad. And she said, one day I just realized I need to change. And she decided on her own. She didn't go to therapy. She just decided to start looking at everything with a joyful heart. And I thought it's a great example of every day. It's our choice to show up a certain way.
There's so much power in that.
Yeah.
When you're able to sit down, start your day, okay, I had a crap morning, and now I'm going to come in and get my mind right.
Yeah.
You know that you have a bad attitude.
Right.
And you don't want to show up for the rest of the day in a bad attitude. It's exhausting.
And usually those people have lots of excuses why they have a bad attitude. It's somebody else's fault, or traffic was bad, or, I mean, there's always a reason to have a bad attitude.
Yep. So when you can do this shift and get to the mindset shift of, okay, instead of being a victim, how do I become a player and start operating from the player side, where you're positive, in control of who you are? Like, I'm going to make today great.
Yeah.
And there's some ways to do that. And that's, so within my brokerage, we teach this concept through ninja selling, and it's mindset. We start out with reading something positive.
Yeah.
And then writing down 3 things that we're grateful for each day.
You start the day with that.
Start the day.
Love it.
And then
get you focused.
Write affirmations. You can either say it in the mirror to yourself, or write it down. And it's got to be present. It's got to be measurable, and it's got to be through something.
So when you say present, meaning like today, I am, not I was.
Yep.
Okay.
Or not I want to be.
Oh, I see. Not future.
I enjoy blank through blank.
Okay.
I enjoy weighing a certain amount every day because it's, and the reason.
Yeah. That's cool.
And then we pass that gratitude and positivity off to other people. And we do that through handwritten notes.
Oh, every day.
Every day.
Wow.
So you're sharing that gratitude, and people are like, oh, handwritten note, that's so old school.
No,
When someone gets a handwritten note in the mail,
they're shocked.
they're shocked, one, and then
It's not a
what you
bill.
write to them,
Yeah.
it's all about them. It really has a huge impact in whatever life is like, whatever life situation they're in.
Yeah.
Whether it be short term that day, that morning, or a season, like it's so good. And it's just a deeper way of relating with people, your people.
Yeah.
And having that authenticity, genuine relationship.
I love that.
So it's what it's all about. Life's all about relationship.
Okay. What do you think you're known for? I mean, not what I said you're known for. What do you think you're known for?
I am known, well, I'm a father.
You're a good dad. Your kids come in here and you could tell you're a great dad.
Thanks. That means a lot.
Very cute. They're very cute. And you're in a stage that I just look at it and I go, wow, that was a long time ago. And I'm exhausted watching.
Aunt Gina? Here you
Yeah.
go.
It's always Aunt Julie. Aunt Gina's the one going, okay, kids, don't tip off that chair. And Aunt Julie's like, you want more whipped cream on your hot chocolate?
Yeah. But so what I feel like I'm known for is being able to connect, being a connector.
So you are
truly being a connector. The Go-Giver, an amazing book. It's on Audible.
Oh, that is a great book. Bill,
I remember the author's names. But there's a character in there. His name's Gus, and he's a connector, and he connects the main character in the story with the teacher, the professor. And that's just, yeah, like with you, right? I learned your story, what you're wanting to do. Great. Do you need to talk to this person?
Yeah.
Here's this person.
And that is, it's like you have to first talk to somebody to understand. There's something about them that it clicks like, oh, I know who they need to meet. But if you just, I mean, so many people go to a networking event and they give them their business card. And it's like, that's not how you get to know people. Like, don't just poke people with your business cards. Like, ask them some questions, get to know them. What do they love to do? Or tell me where you're from. That's usually an easy one. Like, where are you from? It opens up a conversation.
So we say forward in real estate or through ninja selling. So we start with family. How's your family doing? Do you have a husband?
Tell me about your family.
Tell me more about your husband. Do you have kids? Are you from here? How long have you been in Colorado? Typically, most people aren't from Colorado.
Right.
Where'd you come from? What do you do for work? How's work going right now?
So that's the F? All that is F.
So family.
Oh, F
family
is
and
family.
Friends. O is occupation.
Oh, all that. Wow, you hit all of them. Okay. And then R.
How's work going? And then R is recreation.
Recreation. What do you do for fun?
What do you guys do for fun last weekend? What are you guys doing for fun this weekend?
Yeah.
And it's just a good way to start conversation and just dive in and get to know that person and what is at their core.
So that's recreation. What's the D?
Dreams.
Oh, that's a good one.
What do you dream of being?
Yeah. That's a good one.
What are your dreams for the holidays? If you were to wave a magic wand.
I love that question. If you could wave whenever people tell me they can't do something, I go, I know, but if you could.
And it's just diving deeper in relationship.
Get you to get out of the logical mind. But if you could do something, what would it be? If you could do anything, what would it be? If you could travel anywhere, where would you go? Yeah.
But yeah, the God-given talent gift that he's given me is connection.
Yeah.
I can meet someone in the parking lot and talk to them for 2 minutes and walk away and be like, they're from
and
Minnesota. They got 3 kids. They just bought a house. They do this for work. And
we always like here, again, we're bringing people in that just come in, drop in for a tour, and they want to see the place. And then I'm always like, all right, you want to connect them to somebody, and you want to connect them to somebody like Brandon, because you will take it. And all of a sudden, 30 minutes later, I come back down the hall and you guys are sitting. This is another thing about Brandon. He has an office that faces this hallway that's very, very high traffic.
It's a great location in the village.
And there's 2 chairs across the hall that we keep saying you need to do a podcast, because just called In the Hallway. Because I come back down and Brandon and whoever is sitting, they're sitting in the 2 chairs and they're having a conversation. I was like, wow, this would be a great podcast. Just in the hallway. But you said it would be called
next to the lemon tree.
Because there's a little lemon tree next to the chairs. I'm telling you, it would be great. You would have a lot of people walking by the camera,
so guys,
but it would kind of be fun.
Through the hallway.
Yeah, it would be fun. I think that would be a great podcast. So, and you're just talking about anything. Like you go through your FORD, and there's a great podcast. Yeah. Okay, here's a question to find out about Brandon. If you could go 100 years in the future or 100 years in the past, which one would you do? And why?
I would go 100 years in the past. Does that mean I would be 100 years old, right? Yeah.
No.
I would go 100 years in the past.
Yeah.
And
No, it's like not in your past.
oh, my.
I mean, like if you could go back 100
Uh-huh.
years and be alive right then, or 100 years in the future and be alive right then, which one would you rather do?
In the past.
In the past?
Yeah.
Why?
I would probably be more than 100 years, but I like to go in the past. I would like an interview with Marcus
Oh.
Aurelius and just talk about his reasoning. He has a journal that's out now. I just
Oh,
watched
interesting.
Gladiator 1 and 2
We did
recently,
see that one.
and just a man of wisdom. I mean, he had everything. He had an empire. He had
Yeah.
tons of money. And if you start reading his journals, it's just down to earth. Like, money isn't the world. Money isn't life. Like, the value that he's portraying to live a legacy, like he has a legacy, he has the empire, but I think what hit me this year was
That is cool.
living the legacy today, not for the future where you don't get to see, but live your legacy today. Because that's what you have, and you want to
Yeah.
see it in your loved ones. I
Yeah.
want my kids, my family to see what hard work is and
Right.
character and what I value that's close to my heart, being a man of integrity, being able to connect with others and connecting others with others. That's what I hold close
Yeah.
to me. Their standards can be different, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
Gina comes in at 10, I come in at 5 a.m. Like whatever, right? So those are standards. I didn't know that until this week. Like
About my retirement plan?
well, no, I knew that.
Oh.
But learning between values and standards.
Okay. I was like,
And,
wait, you did that. Yeah,
um,
that is interesting. Yeah, what you value versus what you hold yourself to.
So yeah, I'd go 100 years in the past.
100 years in the past. I like that.
Because I don't know
Um,
who's in the future.
I don't either.
And
but
Napster could be still around.
Napster, I guarantee they'll still be there somehow. And we'll all be living in the metaverse listening to music on Napster. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you watch any reality TV shows or game shows or anything.
Here and there.
If you knew you could guarantee win on any reality TV show, which one would you go on?
Amazing Race.
That's the one I would pick every time. Every time that's on, I tell Kirk, we need to sign up for that. We need to sign up for that. He and I would be great at that game together.
There's a gal from Denver. I think she's doing it with her mom right now.
Oh, are they the mother-daughter? I'm
Mhm.
watching that because every time I'm like, Kirk, we need to sign up. We need to
I
sign
haven't
up.
seen the show in years, but yeah.
There's a
and,
mother-daughter. I didn't know they're from Denver.
and I got to meet a contestant through Paul. Paul knows
Yeah.
him. Yeah, he was on that and then became like this reality TV.
That's the thing. They win
star.
one and then they go to another show
show,
or
yeah.
something. Some of them are too dramatic, too crazy. They start, showing a side of them that they
So
probably don't.
what would you be freaked out about? Because there's people that are freaked out all the time.
Yeah,
in
I'm
that
not
show.
afraid. I'm not afraid of anything. Like I could, if they gave me in a pit of spiders, that would be my worst nightmare. But I still, in my head, here's what I always say: they would not put you in a pit of spiders that are poisonous because they're not going to let you die.
Well, they have meds. Like they have
But
doctors
that's what I
and
mean. They're not
medics
going to
in there.
let you die. So I would do any of that. The only thing I couldn't do is eat weirds. Like if they said eat the bugs, I couldn't do it. That's when Kirk would have to take that one. But I could jump off things. I could skydive. I could dive in underwater. I've done all that. That doesn't scare me at all. Heights. Like I feel like I'd be good at the solving puzzle pieces. I'm good at giving directions.
Not so
Just
good
in case-
taking directions.
Just in case Kirk's watching. Yeah. We were in Malta a couple years ago and he GPS people, the reason they show you a map and the little blue line on it is that helps you know where the turn's coming. You don't wait until it says to turn. You watch the little line. So I'm good at now give me a regular map. That's scary because I have to turn the map in the direction that we're driving. I couldn't look at it this way. And but I'm good at giving directions. Yeah, I don't know. How about you? Is there things that you could not do?
Anything with snakes.
You could not
My
do.
fear of snakes is crazy.
That is interesting. Snakes don't bother me.
Mhm.
I could pick up a snake if it crawled in here. Now, if it was rattling, see, then there again, they would not put you with a snake that's going to kill you. So my mind is always, this is a TV show. They're
Okay,
not
what
going to
if
let
there
you.
was?
If there was, then I would say, Kurt, go chop off the tail or head of
Direction.
that.
Give me
Yeah,
direction.
I
There
would
you
be
go.
really good at being bossy. Kurt, go chop the head off that thing and then I'll pick it up. Yeah. But we had this giant, probably 10-foot bull snake in our backyard. And I could go over with sticks and pick it up and move it easy. And I had a snake in our basement. We moved to Castle Rock, a big bull snake. And I picked up, put it in a trash can. And I was going to take it outside, but I was like, no one will believe me that there was a snake this big. So I need to keep it until Kirk gets home so I can say, look at the snake that was in our house that I captured. Yeah. So snakes don't bother me. Spiders, those are the ones. I don't know why. Because they could disappear on you. Do you squish them?
Yeah.
So Taylor would have a heart attack because she always wants to save every spider. But I'm always
We
like,
had a
no.
black widow in our window well in our basement a couple years ago. And that freaked me out. And I took the hose and just drenched that window well.
That did not kill it, though. What'd you do with the spider?
I found it and it was, curled up because of the wet.
And then you killed it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say spiders I can capture with a piece of paper and the cup thing and throw them outside. But a black widow, I would need to see him die and his family.
What if a pregnant spider stomping on one?
Oh my gosh. And those are myths. That is not true. That
No,
if
it
you stomp
is.
on it, they're going to jump. The babies are going to jump on you.
It is.
I don't think that's true. I always go, that's not real.
It happened.
That's not real.
It happened.
It happened.
It did.
To you?
No.
Okay. You saw it online?
No. To an old friend of mine. let's
Yeah,
say
it happened to a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Good. Amazing race. Okay. Competitors. I'd love to be on that
that.
show.
We should do it.
I know.
You should do it.
I know. We should do.
You and Kurt.
We should. We have 4
Kirk or
dogs.
Kurt? Kurt.
It's Kirk, K-I-R-K, like Captain Kirk. Yeah. Captain Kirk. People I used to say the captain.
Sorry, Kirk. I
And
was
then-
calling you Kurt.
Well, when we went to a restaurant the other day, we said Kirk and they wrote C-I-R-C. I was like, Cirque? Like Cirque du Soleil? like,
Aaron.
How is that so hard? Like there's Kurt Russell, C-U-R-T, and there's Kirk, Captain Kirk. There's no Kirk.
Kurt Russell's story is amazing, by the way.
Oh, I don't know his story. I'll have to. Does he
Watch
have a book?
Battered Bastards of Baseball.
Oh,
It's a documentary on Netflix.
and it's about him, his life?
Him, his dad.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's great.
There's so many good movies. Yeah. So many movies.
And you
so
would
little
enjoy it
time.
because it's business and entrepreneurship.
I always say, as long as there's no past violence, future violence, or current violence. Whenever Kirk wants to go see a movie, I go, does it have past violence like Gladiator? Does it have future violence like any sci-fi movie? Or does it have current violence like mobster movies? No, can't go. I need happy movies, happy comedies, romance comedies. I'm all about it. Don't send me to a violent movie. No, like Mission Impossible. It's hard. I can watch it with I leave and my neck hurts.
We're doing a
It's
movie night
intense.
here sometime in the village. We're going to show Gladiator to a few people. It's a private party.
We're gonna have Bloody Marys.
Private party.
But let's talk about what is coming to the village because there's a couple events. One, if you're watching this, April 2nd, we have an author flying in. She's doing a free workshop here, April 2nd from 6 p.m. to 8 about writing your personal narrative, how to write a memoir. I'm really excited because that's what I want to work on next is a book that's not a factual technical book.
We need to have an author spotlight,
Yeah.
whether it's a podcast or whatever,
And
because we know
we have a lot. There's so many authors that we have in our
some really
world.
well-known
But
authors in our
one,
networks.
Tomorrow, you and I have a meeting with somebody you met at what are the dinners called?
Soulful
Soulful
by
or soul food?
Soulful.
Full. Okay.
Community connection, and then I think there's a third C.
And you went to this dinner.
Yeah, so I took over the Springs district and went to a co-work space because I needed a space down there to run meetings. Met the owner there and introduced you to him, and
Yep.
he came up and toured the village. And
He was great.
Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He reached out and was like, "Hey, since you're new to the Springs, new to real estate down here, there's an event, a dinner event. There's
Oh,
You should check it out. I think it fits you." And so I went to the website and I'm like, where are these guys? Who
Yeah.
are these guys? But it was all based around community. And I'm like, okay, I'll go.
how many people were there total?
There was total, I just found the number yesterday, 92 people.
Wow.
And it was all the movers and shakers in the Springs that were doing stuff in the community that are making the Springs
And were they
happen.
sitting at a long table or round tables?
There were probably 15 round tables.
Wow, that's very cool.
So the dinner event, it's a dinner event. A lot of community leaders to business owners, nonprofit owners, and just people in the community. And every dinner is themed differently. So
Okay.
the Saturday dinner I went to was themed champion. So we're celebrating the champions in the community.
Cool.
And they had 6 courses for dinner. And each course came with a question, not of what do you do for a living,
Right.
but what do you care about, or who's the champion in your life that you care
That's
about
cool.
and why. And just going around a table and asking these deep questions and learning
And
about
getting to know these people.
Yeah, who I have no idea about.
Yeah.
One's an account executive at a news station down in the Springs. One's a pastor. I brought a broker from Fathom that's down there. The MCs were sitting at our table. They're from San Diego. He owns a business, a production company, and helps youth and people
That's cool.
express voice through music.
That's really cool.
And then his wife, Kristen, has this amazing business. She was doing a lot of domestic violence reporting for the news in San Diego with murders and stuff that happened. But yeah, it's just, she has an amazing business, and I wouldn't know if
You hadn't gone.
So
tomorrow, who's the guy that's coming here?
So Darian Latimer,
Okay.
with Latimer's Kitchens catering company, he had this idea of like, let's bring community together. So much happens over a meal. And when I went, I was like, this natural connector spirit of me just came out. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know anybody here.
We need to do this.
But we need to do it here because the village that's what it is.
Yeah.
And compiling our networks together and bringing community together.
Yeah, bringing some of the community leaders in, some of our nonprofits in here that are just doing amazing.
And the stories behind of why these people are doing what they're doing is amazing. And so, yeah, we have connections, and then Darian has this whole thing set up, like the structure of doing it. And
so every course they give you questions to eat that course and then talk at your table, and then another course is brought out. Okay.
So the 6th course was like, if you know, or if you think of somebody that you want to connect somebody with and the reason why, share that, and then get up and connect those two together. Like, Gina, you're a connector, you know the village, you know how this operates. You need to connect with Jeremiah over there, who owns Co-Harbor Workspace down in the Springs. I think you guys can collaborate and give value to one another.
Yeah.
Again, it's not competition. It's not a scarce mindset. It's being open and
to working together, and
value.
The pie is big, people. Yeah, it's really cool.
Abundance, right?
Yeah. So tomorrow, we don't know when the dinner will be,
but it's gonna happen.
We're gonna start planning it tomorrow.
Darian's been praying for someone to come in and like just to run it, like do it in a different location.
Right.
And so I'm just learning his story. I'm excited to introduce you to him. He's a principal at an elementary school down in the Springs.
Wow.
And just has a huge heart for the Springs, solid dude. And he's wanting to bring community together. There's so many parts of community in our city, even here, where people don't go outside of what their comfort zone is.
Yeah.
And it's just seeing it all come together. I mean, look at the village. It's all coming together.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because he has this idea and he'd love to do them everywhere, but he can't do it everywhere. And I think that's another thing that I see. There's so many things I want to do here. I want a book club, a writers group. We have a group that wants to do a walking club. So we said, okay, on April 1st, next week, we're just gathering a few people together to say, let's brainstorm. Who wants to lead these different groups? Because I can't do them all, but I would love them all to happen in here. We just can't run them all. So who are the community leaders within the village to run things? And it's just something they're passionate about. And we have some that are passionate about going on a walk every day. Another group that wants to work out in the gym here every day, or a couple times a week. So it's like, all right, great. Let's get these groups started. But I think that's the thing. When you have these ideas, you want to get them going, but you may not be the one that takes it everywhere, but your idea, you start the movement. And I would say a movement should be able to continue moving with or without you. Person started it. Take that person out. And if it's a movement, it'll keep going. if it's just that person's idea, it dies. And so,
The Village Incubator.
yeah,
Here we go.
Here we go. This is gonna be exciting. So exciting. Well, it was fun getting to chat with you here between the succulent and grass, wild grass. Yeah, look for Brandon's podcast starting soon of Next to the Lemon Tree.
Next to the
or
lemon
in
tree.
the hallway.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do one for everyone in the real estate industry, because there's so many good conversations. I'm like, we just need, what if we just film this?
If people want to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
VistaHomegroup.com, VistaHomegroup.com. You can get in touch with me there.
Are you
Or
on LinkedIn a lot? Are
LinkedIn
you
is also there.
okay?
Instagram, Facebook.
What's your favorite social?
Personally, I love posting about my kids and my family. I'm very passionate about my kids. So
On Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
At is it not Vista Home?
No.
Just your name,
Just my name.
Brandon. And it is Sejera, like the desert.
Sejera.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear that. Yeah. Sejera.
Great job.
Sejera. Sejera. Yeah. So look for, and we'll put the link in here so that you can click and go to his Instagram, and then on LinkedIn, find him at.
Yeah, I
Brandon
would
Sejera.
love to connect if you guys, in anything and everything. I love connection. So,
And I know some of you have just been staying on here just because you can't wait to see our outro video.
yes,
I don't know if it's going to work,
pop that outro
but
video.
I'm
Let's
going
see
to
it.
go. So we'll see all of you next week in the neighborhood.
See you
Let's see
guys.
if it actually works.